And good evening to all of you RWL fans. We are in the Chocolate Acropolis, Hershey, Pennsylvania for tonight's edition of RWL Rage. Glad you're aboard. I'm Don Hickson, and I'll be joined by Christy Ogilvy and Myron Simmelman, RWL booking agent. We have got a dynamite lineup, 2 hours of RWL mat action you're definitely not going to want to miss, so sit back, relax, and enjoy it with us.
Good evening, everyone. How are we doing tonight? Don's not kidding. It's going to be a terrific lineup. We've got a couple of championship matches on tap. There's going to be tag team action, ladies division action, everything you could possibly want out of an RWL Rage.
It most certainly is, Myron. Let's get the show on the road and underway. Our opening matchup tonight is going to feature Jim Dandy Deakins of Best of the West, accompanied by Billy White Moon, the Mid-South champion, set to go one-on-one against Jimmy, the Superfly Snuka.
What's good out there, fans? Don? Myron?
Yes, Christy?
I had myself a blast at last week's show, and it had me anticipating this one the whole week through. It's a sweet-ass lineup for sure tonight.
Hey, it wouldn't be the same without you, Christy.
Tonight's opening match is scheduled for one fall, with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, accompanied by Mid-South champion Billy White Moon from Houston, Texas, weighing in at 258 pounds, Jim Dandy Deakins.
Well, most certainly no one can accuse Best of the West of not putting in the work. We've seen Billy White Moon, Tex McKenzie, and now Jim Dandy Deakins in one-on-one competition tonight going up against Superfly Jimmy Snuka, and that is going to be an interesting matchup for sure.
And I just love Best of the West, especially Jim Dandy and Billy White Moon, for picking up the partnership where their fathers, Chief Sam White Moon and Cowboy Bob Deakins, left it off some 20 years ago.
And his opponent from the Fiji Islands, weighing in at 252 pounds, here is Jimmy, the Superfly Snuka.
Well, Superfly getting a pretty warm reception from the fans here in Hershey. And it doesn't matter who he's facing or what's going on, Jimmy Superfly Snuka always extremely popular with RWL fans. And tonight he's one-on-one against Jim Dandy Deakins, and that is going to be a match and a half.
Superfly, he's won some, he's lost some, but like you said, it doesn't matter. The fans always happy to see Jimmy Superfly Snuka in action.
I'm wondering if Jim Dandy might not be in over his head with this match. Snuka is one tough SOB.
He most certainly is, Christy, but as far as Jim Dandy Deakins is concerned, we'll just have to wait and see what happens by the time the final bell rings. But for now, our principals are locked and loaded. Referee Walt Rothburn sounds the bell. They lock up collar and elbow. Jim Dandy Deakins shoving Snuka right back. Snuka with a right and a left Jim Dandy with an immediate counter. Up over the shoulder and slam right head first into the turnbuckle goes the Superfly. Jim Dandy whipped over the top rope and onto the apron. Snuka quickly countered by Jim Dandy Deakins. Deakins with a clubbing overhand right, a slap across the face. Jim Dandy winding up the arm into that top wrist lock. Jimmy Superfly Snuka countering with shots to the midsection. Snuka whips Jim Dandy to the rope. Power slam. Beautifully executed. Absolutely poetry in motion from the Superfly. Jim Dandy Deakins got the trunks. He's got him all the way up. Vertical suplex by Jim Dandy Deakins. Mid-South champ Billy White Moon cheering on his tag team partner. Jimmy Superfly Snuka winds up the arm Russian leg sweep. Down goes Jim Dandy. And it looks as if momentum might have just shifted here. Superfly Snuka taking Jim Dandy down a second time. Jim Dandy counters into a back body drop on Snuka. Snuka rounded up to his feet again. Jim Dandy Deakins has him up. Snuka with a quick counter and an inverted DDT from the Superfly. Follows it up with a couple of stomps to the back of Jim Dandy Deakins. Deakins gathered back up to his feet again. A hard forearm, a kick to the midsection, and Snuka with a snap suplex on Jim Dandy. Swing and a miss with that kick. Jim Dandy Deakins going to exploit the mistake. Jimmy Superfly Snuka with another beautiful counter. Meteora, knees across the chest for Jim Dandy. Snuka going for the cover here. One, and just only a one. Jim Dandy Deakins powering out really quickly. Kick to the back from the Superfly. Superfly with a basement dropkick to the side of the head of Jim Dandy Deakins. Deakins counters with another back body drop on Snuka. A kick to the back of the head. And Jim Dandy Deakins, look at this, into a surfboard stretch on the Superfly. Billy White Moon looking on as Jimmy Superfly Snuka's face, I'm sure, is contorted in pain. Jim Dandy Deakins releases the hold. Snuka counters with a kick. Misses with that kick. A slap across the chest. Jimmy Superfly Snuka counters with a clothesline that puts Jim Dandy into the corner. Draped over the bottom rope. Snuka with a guillotine leg drop on Jim Dandy. Snuka looks as if he may be waiting for a coup de grace here. Climbs his way to the turnbuckle. Jim Dandy in jeopardy here. Double stomp, misses the mark. Jim Dandy Deakins surprises him with a kick to the head, going for an immediate cover. 1, 2. Another near fall in this matchup. Jim Dandy Deakins. Whoa! Snuka with a quick counter off the middle rope. Misses with the leg drop. Misjudged the distance. Jim Dandy catches almost a kick in the keister, but a heel kick takes Jim Dandy down again. The Superfly resuming control of this matchup. A chop across the chest, a hard right. Jim Dandy into the far corner, counters and escapes it. Another uppercut from the Superfly. A kick to the chest. And now, oh my, Superfly Snuka putting that foot right in the face of Jim Dandy Deakins. Snuka covers, hooks the leg. 1, but just a 1. Jim Dandy Deakins powering out. Snuka goes behind, stretching the arm, leading into it. Jim Dandy Deakins, his arms being tortured by the Superfly. Snuka not letting go either. Superfly Snuka really aggressive. This hold locked in pretty good. Snuka releasing the hold. Jim Dandy winds up the arm of the Superfly again. Superfly unwinding himself. Look at that. That was beautifully done by Jimmy Snuka. Whoa, what a kick to the face. Jim Dandy Deakins absolutely busted open on that one. Snuka drags him just about center ring. And what's he going to do with him? Oh, here we go. Giant swing for Jim Dandy Deakins. Round and round and round we go, and where we stop, we get nauseous. Down goes Jim Dandy Deakins. This could be the wrap-up right here. Snuka hooking the leg, calling it 1, 2. Jim Dandy says no way. Not giving up just yet. Snuka obligated to start all over again. A stomp to the midsection for Jim Dandy. A stomp to the arm. Jimmy Superfly Snuka starting to get a little frustrated. Arm drag from Jim Dandy. Jim Dandy Deakins rounds up the Superfly. Escorts him towards the ropes. Jimmy Snuka bounced off the ropes, facing forearms from Jim Dandy. Down goes the Superfly. Jim Dandy, there's a couple of quick jabs. Whoa, 4 or 5 quick jabs. And there's that double shot to the chest. Down goes the Superfly. Jim Dandy covers 1, 2. And another near fall. Jimmy Superfly Snuka enduring quite a bit of punishment here at the hands of Jim Dandy Deakins. Snuka making his way back to his feet. Jim Dandy stalking him. Here it goes again. Another jab and a bionic elbow right to the top of the skull. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3. And that is going to do it. Jim Dandy Deakins defeats the Superfly by pinfall.
Here's the time, 6 minutes and 29 seconds. Here's your winner, Jim Dandy Deakins.
This was a close one for Jim Deakins. Technically, Superfly should have won this match.
How do you think?
Snuka was doing just everything right, and he had Jim Dandy cornered more than once here, with several close 2-count near falls, even managing to make Deakins bleed. But in spite of all of it, Jim Dandy exploited 2 very small holes in Jimmy Snuka's offense, and it cost Snuka the match, and showed us all that Jim Dandy Deakins can snatch a win away from even big-time heavy hitters like the Superfly.
You reasoned it out pretty admirably. Okay, I'll buy that.
Jimmy Superfly Snuka taking a painful loss at the hands of Jim Dandy Deakins of Best of the West. What a spectacular victory for Jim Dandy Deakins. That is going to do it for tonight's card opener. We've got a whole lot more on tap coming right up right after the break. We hope you'll stay here with us.
Definitely a lot more action up ahead. You're gonna want to stick around, trust me.